Welcome, everyone, to A Call for Judgment. This is probably one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my life. So I felt the need to jump the gun and do a video on it so everybody can see it. And that is President Biden giving a speech to the quote-unquote free press. And of course, all the articles that came out about the speech were talking about how funny Biden is, how he's got great jokes, how he cracked jokes about his age. But if you actually listen to the speech, you are going to hear some of the funniest things you've ever heard. And it's not because he's cracking jokes about his age. It's because he's flat out lying to everybody in the entire world, talking about this country being a democracy, talking about we need to stop saying that the free press is the enemy of the people, the enemy of humanity, and saying that the free press is a pillar to society. Listen to this speech, because we all know we don't have free press in this country. He talks about how important the First Amendment is. Where is the First Amendment? And of course, he cracks jokes about one of the topics I always discuss, which is exactly how the Communist Party works. Because remember, the woke movement is just a new name for communism, about how they don't need to answer any questions, how they stand at a podium and walk away when the questions are asked, because that's how a dictatorship, communist government works. Listen to this unbelievable speech. It is so freaking funny.
Let me start on a serious note. Jill, Kamala, Doug, and I, and members of our administration, are here to send a message to the country and, quite frankly, to the world. The free press is a pillar, maybe the pillar, of a free society, not the enemy. Thomas Jefferson wrote, you all know this quote. Thomas Jefferson wrote, "We're left to me to decide whether we should have a government without newspapers or newspapers without a government. I should not hesitate to prefer the latter." Just as I know your commitment is to continue to being a free and fearless press. And that's what we honor tonight. This is not hyperbole. You make it possible. You make it possible for ordinary citizens to question authority, and yes, even to laugh at authority without fear or intimidation. That's what makes this nation strong. So tonight, let us show ourselves and the world our strength, not just by the example of our power, but by the power of our example. Folks, I know a lot's changed in the press. I've had a lot of conversations with a lot of you. This is not your father's press from 20 years ago. No, I'm serious, and you all know it better than I do. But still, it is absolutely consequential and essential. After all, I believe in the First Amendment, not just because my good friend Jimmy Madison wrote it. In a lot of ways, this dinner sums up my first 2 years in office. I'll talk for 10 minutes, take 0 questions, and cheerfully walk away. To the truth. The truth matters. As I said last year at this dinner, a poison is running through our democracy and parts of the extreme press. Truth buried by lies, and lies living on as truth. Lies told for profit and power. Lies of conspiracy and malice, repeated over and over again, designed to generate a cycle of anger, hate, and even violence. A cycle that emboldens history to be buried, books to be banned, children and families be attacked by the state, and the rule of law and our rights and freedoms to be stripped away. And where elected representatives of the people are expelled from state houses for standing for the people. I made clear that we know in our bones, and you know it too, our democracy remains at risk. But I've also made it clear, as I've seen throughout my life, it's within our power each and every one of us, to preserve our democracy. We can, we must, we will. I'd like to make a toast, seriously. At this inflection point in history, let us commit there will be a nation that will embrace light over darkness, truth over lies, and finally, restore the soul of the nation. Hear, hear.
So the opposite could not be more true for anybody with a brain. This shows you how hive-minded our society has become. If liberal people are actually listening to that and actually think that what this guy is saying is true, they are out of their minds completely. They're actually acting as if free speech exists in this country. It only exists for communists, aka Democrats. And the best part was probably him saying that the press makes it possible for ordinary citizens to question and laugh at authority without fear of intimidation. Are you joking me? So the question is, who decides who the free press is? Oh, the CIA, the FBI, and our government agencies, which are all one and the same, the satanic government that is in place. And if you question them, and you question these beta female males on television who have no scrotums, then you are labeled a threat to a democracy that doesn't even exist, because in a democracy, you can question everything that's happening. Why is it that only some of us can't question it? Why is it that they're so hell-bent on silencing all of us as if it's communist China? Because it's communist America. That's what it is. And the illusion of a free press that they convince these hive-minded liberals actually exists when it doesn't. Now, the Bible told us all about exactly what's occurred in this speech and exactly what's going on in today's world. In Isaiah chapter 5, verse 20, woe to those who call evil good and good evil, who put darkness for light and light for darkness, who put bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter. Notice how he used those terms at the end of the speech, where he was literally talking about good and evil. These people could not be more wicked. And over the last few years, I've been shocked at how open they've started to become with their psychological operations to admitting truth. When we saw Joe Biden admit to talking about, oh, these people think we drink baby's blood, just the fact that they're even bringing it up just shows you how scared they are and were. So they're creating this illusion because, again, democracy is no longer in place. They have to create the illusion that our democracy is being destroyed, and it's going to be blamed on conservatives and Christians for everything that happens, when in reality they are sabotaging our society. They're sabotaging our food chain. They're sabotaging all of our freedoms, all of the Bill of Rights, all of the Constitution. They're sabotaging on purpose. And then they're telling these people who are liberal that they're the ones who are oppressed, that they're the ones who are victims. When in reality, they're being fully protected by the government. Anybody calls out their perversions or any of the acts that they do that are just despicable and disgusting, you just get labeled racist and hateful, and you get thrown off the internet. You know, I'm Italian, so I grew up with this mindset that you never ever mess with a person's family. You never mess with the way that a person earns a living to take care of themselves or their family or the people around them that they care about. That was always my mindset. I never thought I'd live in a world where they literally won't allow you to work if you don't take a certain thing that they wanted you to take in your body, or live in a world where if you have a difference of opinion, they will take your income away. And other people would want that. When all this stuff started, we were all talking about, wow, they're going to take away free speech. They're going to take away monetization. And then they literally started doing that. And I thought to myself, well, there's no way that people who are liberal would want to see people lose their jobs, because who would want to see somebody lose their job or lose their income? Because that's how they feed themselves, feed their family. Oh no, I was dead wrong. I didn't realize how hive-minded these people were. They are living in an alternate world, literally, where they actually think that they're the ones being silenced and they're the ones being oppressed, when all of us are the ones who are silenced. All of us are the ones who are oppressed. Could you imagine if somebody like PewDiePie got thrown off? Now, I'm not the equivalent to PewDiePie, but just imagine if PewDiePie got demonetized and then kicked off of YouTube. What a big deal they would make, right? They'd make a huge deal about it. Well, I can't believe it. How could you silence him just because he has a difference of opinion? See, these people are allowed to speak because they're going along with the communist agenda, the communist manifesto. They're pushing the perverse. They're pushing a world of lies because they've been indoctrinated so deep and so hard by the government, by the school system, that they literally believe everything they're told. We have a world that they literally force something upon everyone where people actually lost their jobs if they didn't do it. And then they came out and said, a year later, it actually doesn't work or prevent any of this stuff, but you should still do it. And these people still defended it. That is mind control that is so thick that it is irreversible for these people. So now we're at a point where the president of the United States comes out, talks about free press with a straight face, and these people actually believe it. And then the mainstream media reports in the speech, and the entire thing they report on is how funny he is about his age and how he's running again. And there's no mention of the fact that they talk about the people in the press, which saw those puppets in that room, all those losers that would never be there if they didn't go through the Tavistock Institute and they weren't pushed through the CIA. They're all agents. It's the only reason there's no talent. They're all insecure on the inside, which is why they silence voices that go against them. Because if they ever put someone like me on MSNBC to argue with one of these people, I would bury them alive on the spot. You literally would hear them crap their pants with me on there. And that's not me patting myself on the back. I don't have an ego. I barely have any self-confidence, okay? I'm just telling you that's the way it is if you put me on a platform with one of these people, because they can't debate. They can't argue for the insanity that they're putting out there. They just lie and lie and lie. And we've never lived in a world where the media is so full of lies. And then they act like everything's the other way. Because they're trying to be like, Fox News, right? The one station that's out there that they allow to be out there so they can give the illusion that there's a left and a right. And so they can create this civil war, because without Fox News, they wouldn't be able to create it. And they're like, and he's everybody in the room, patting him on the back, and they're all there clapping like, we all deserve to be here. We're all so wonderful. All a bunch of insecure, talentless hacks sitting there acting as if it wasn't for those people, that regular people, as if those people are, regular people aren't on the same level as the people pushed down our throats on mainstream media. But they have the nerve to say that those people in that room who are from CNN, NBC, etc., make it possible to question and laugh at authority without fear of intimidation, when all the government is doing is trying to intimidate the crap out of anybody who speaks against what's happening. And they do things like the Tucker Carlson situation to intimidate you. That's what the point is. They do things like the Alex Jones trial to intimidate you. To say, man, I better stop, or I might get sued for questioning an event that occurs without any evidence. How dare I? Only these people can question it because these people are selected and put there. And of course, they're smarter than we are. They're real journalists. We're not. I don't consider myself a journalist. And we all know that none of those people are journalists who are out there. They're peddlers of lies. But the fact that they have the balls to sit there and say that it's the press in that room that makes it possible to people to question authority, as if anyone in that room questions anything about the communist Biden administration or the Obama administration 2 terms prior, actually, because of them, doesn't have to fear intimidation. When our own government is assaulting its citizens, it is taking away free speech, it is taking away the right to bear arms, it is taking away the right for parents to have any say in how their children are educated in schools. And then they go, book burning. Well, the only books that we see banned and removed are the Bible. That's the only book we hear story after story. I covered it 6 years ago. The Bible was considered the most dangerous the most dangerous book in America. That libraries should ban it. Where are we at now? Right? It's only a matter of months before they start coming out and saying, the people out there wouldn't be hateful and all that stuff if the Bible wasn't out there. You don't see where we're headed towards, this massive persecution? The fear of intimidation. We're going to demonetize you. We're going to defund you. We're going to send the IRS to your home. These are the things the government's doing. And then they sit there and with a straight face, they tell you that. It is absolutely, that was one of the funniest things I've ever seen. It is so hysterical that we actually live amongst people who stood and applauded in that room, which of course they did because they're agents. But in the comment section, there are people who are like, that's my president. That's Joe Biden. I mean, they are so brainwashed, living in such an alternate universe. I have no sympathy for the majority of these adults who sit and applaud this stuff. I have sympathy for the children who are born in the households of these liberals, these communists. who aren't going to get to learn about God because they're going to silence every one of us who tries to show them the truth, because we counteract what they do. I counteract what they do. All of us do. Whether it's your posts on Facebook or social media or the videos that I make, if you share them and then they take them down, it counteracts them because we're a bigger threat to them than anything out there. We don't have to threaten them with violence and all these things they pretend that's happening with these right-wing CIA events that they create, these patriot events. No, our voices are our sword, our weapon, and they fear it more than anything because they know that people like me and you can get through to the youth out there. And the youth are the ones they have to brainwash into this communist, satanic government that is already in place. What an absolute joke. I thank everyone for being here. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Absolutely incredible. God bless all of you and your families.